So, guys, because today is going to be my last episode for a little while, and because it is October, and I'm not going to be back until the end of the month, I thought we'd do this now for something to everybody to digest for the rest of the month. Guys, you know, usually at the end of the week, we got to do something light, something to keep ourselves from going insane, right? So, if you're anything like me, you frickin' love horror movies. And I've been watching, me and my girlfriend have been watching a horror movie almost every night. So far, we've watched House of a Thousand Corpses, which I want to say I've seen before, but it's been years. And I think that when I watched it, it was like in college. So there was a group of us, and we were all drunk, so we didn't really watch the movie. It was just kind of on. But I actually watched it. I've watched The Conjuring. I've watched The Babysitter, I think it was called. And then last night I watched The Witch. And I gotta say, I was a little disappointed in two of those movies. The Babysitter movie was just kind of weird and creepy. But not in like a good weird and creepy way, just kind of in a kind of way. But it was okay. Like, it was still decent. I don't regret watching it. The Witch, I was a little disappointed with, but I had really high hopes for it. Whenever you say, like, creepy, New England-y, witchcraft, old-timey, like, set back during that era, I'm in. I'm really intrigued. I really want to watch that. So I was hoping this was, like, some witch was, like, plaguing a community, but that's not the premise of that movie. It's actually just one family. So, you know, I was a little disappointed with the execution. It just wasn't quite what I'd hoped for. Still an enjoyable movie. I still liked it. I don't know if I'd go as far as to recommend it. I think there's other movies I'd recommend first. But, so the topic today, guys, we're recommending some horror movies. I tweeted this out last night. I recommended some horror movies, and I got about 200 responses. We're going to go through all of them. No, just kidding. We're not going to go through all of them. But we'll skim some of these. Carmen Chateau Ruby recommends Suicide Club. I echo that recommendation. Suicide Club is amazing. Check out Suicide Club if you haven't. That is such a good film. Another one I would say on that, Battle Royale. Excellent, excellent movie. Not necessarily a horror film, but kind of a horror film. Horror Hospital is recommended. I don't know. I haven't seen that one. Russ recommends Troll Hunter and then says he's serious. So I guess he really is serious about Troll Hunter. I've never seen it. Rick Overton recommends Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Now, Peter Griffin recommends Trick or Treat. So I echo that recommendation. I loved Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat is one of those horror movies. Everybody either loves it or hates it. There aren't many people in between. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was such a cool movie. But everybody else I watched the movie with, nobody liked it. So, you know, I guess Trick or Treat, it's one of those acquired things. It's not for everyone, but I really fucking dug it. Night of the Creeps is another one. Let's see. Cabin in the Woods is recommended. The Hitcher. David recommends The Hitcher. Chopping Mall. Oh, and by the way, Winkle the Bernie Bro taught me a new phrase, schlock horror. I had no idea what the hell that meant, but he tweeted, he goes, if you are into schlock horror, you can't go wrong with Chopping Mall. And I said, at the risk of sounding lame, what does schlock horror mean? And then Chateau Ruby actually got in on that thread as well, and she goes, Whispers, I would also like to know, as I've never heard the term. So, schlock horror, you know, and this is Winkle the Bernie Bro answering our inquiries. Campy or low-budget exploitative B-movie crap. Schlock, like Troll 2. So there you go. And I like some of that B-movie stuff. Which, speaking of which, another recommendation, The Church. That's a really creepy one. But I recommend The Church. The Conjuring, Benjamin recommends. I just watched The Conjuring. I echo that recommendation. The Conjuring was a good one. Hills Have Eyes, haven't seen it. Oculus, haven't seen it. But those are some more recommendations. Identity, we got a couple for Identity. Get Out, I've seen it. I echo that recommendation. I really like Get Out. Let the Right One In, never seen that one. I'm going to throw one out there from me, Orphan. I really dug Orphan. Orphan was one of my favorite horror movies I've seen in recent years. Zombies on a Train. Train to Busan. If you like kind of an absurdist, satirical horror movie, I recommend Zombie Strippers. It was pretty funny. And it was actually an enjoyable. So here we go. We have a recommendation for The Witch. A couple people recommended The Witch. That's why I watched it last night. About like 5 or 6 people on the thread recommended The Witch. And I really liked the premise. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. And I was a little disappointed. I'm not going to say I disliked it. I did enjoy it. But I was a little disappointed. It wasn't what I was hoping for. Green Room and It Comes at Night. Sam recommends. The Old Dark House. Old Dark House got a couple shout-outs. Now, Steve says, I stand by the original Omen that night. Not really gory or bloody, just psychologically disturbing. For blood, gore, and disturbing, check out Henry, Portraits of a Serial Killer. Now, I gotta say, I love The Omen. It's a beautiful plot. But I actually preferred the remake over the original. I thought The Omen that was made in the 2000s was really, really good. And I liked it better than the original. We got a couple shout-outs for Suspiria. Now, I know that this is on me. I first of all, I'm an Italian-American. I should always give a preferential treatment to Italian cinema, right? I didn't get Suspiria. And I know everybody loves it. It is a cult classic. It is horror movie buffs that might be watching this are writing me off as a poser, and that's totally fair. I'm not a connoisseur. I'm not an expert. I just enjoy it. When I used to live in Nashville, there was this like horror movie like cinema, and it was actually the most perfect setup ever. It was run by this dude out of New Jersey named Rob, or he's from New Jersey. He was from New Jersey. He lived in Nashville, but and he had this tiny little movie theater. It was downstairs from this occult shop. So you went downstairs. Now here's something that's cool. What did they used to use that theater space for? It used to be a veterinarian office. And what is now a theater is where they used to have to put the animals down. So this used to be a place where animals got put down. Now it's this creepy-ass movie theater. And they would do other events like music shows and stand-up and burlesque. That's how I found out about it at first. I did stand-up there. And then I was like, this place is cool. And on Friday and Saturday nights, Rob would show movies. He literally just had a DVD player connected to a projector, and it would screen up against the wall. It sat about 30 people, and you would go, and everything cost $2. Tickets were $2. If you wanted a beer, that was $2. If you wanted popcorn, that was $2. Soda, $2. You get the idea. So basically, you could have a date night for about $20, and you could go see a movie. And these were all just movies from Rob's personal collection. And everyone would go in. He'd be like, all right, hope you enjoy it. He'd press play. Sometimes he would hang out and watch the movie with you. Sometimes he wouldn't. And it was such a cool horror movie. Such a cool horror venue. They had closed, at least last time I was cognizant of what was going on out there. I haven't lived in Nashville for quite a few years. But they had to close due to some kind of fire code thing, and they were looking for a place to reopen. But, man, they had such a perfect space. That was one of those things. You were just glad you were part of it while it lasted. It follows, another recommendation, Where to Invade Next, Fright Night, The Ring, the original. They say the original Japanese version. I've seen both, and I recommend all of them. So let's see what you guys are saying. 28 Days Later, The Thing, Alucarda, Ducker and Dale vs. Evil, The Ritual, Halloween, the original. Alright, let's see what you guys are saying. Lost Boys, Alien, Predator or Aliens, Night of the Living Dead, 28 Days Later, Sunshine, The Witch, Get Out, Babadook. Let me see where you guys are at. The Exorcist, classic. The Thing, Sinister, Supernatural, Haunted House Horror. I also like, some of you guys are saying I like weird suspenseful stuff. Like, I like psychological stuff. I like eerie supernatural stuff. I don't really like crazy, gory stuff either. If it's done well, and if it's a cool, if the plot's cool, I can deal with it, but... And you know what? I'll throw out another one. Children of the Corn. The original. They had a ton, they had so many sequels to. I don't even know how many sequels to Children of the Corn they've had, but they had a lot. I recommend the original, like just the first one. Oh yeah, Cappuccino Conservatives brings this up. Speaking of like all the like they have to make up things to be mad about. Fox News was mad that Jamie Lee Curtis is for gun control despite being in a Halloween movie. And I remember I saw something like this. I guess in the new Halloween movie, Jamie Lee Curtis's character has to use a gun. And Fox News is mad about that because they're saying she's for gun control. So you're not allowed to act in a movie if you're for gun control. Like, it's so... Like, how... Like, you're totally fishing. Like, that's the most ridiculous... Like, oh, she's using a gun. She's playing a character that uses a gun, and she's acting. And it's a fictional movie that's supposed to be fiction. So I guess, you know what? We can actually flip this. If you're conservative and you're far to the right and you're pro-fracking, you can't like Star Trek because they were environmentalists. So you can't like Star Trek if you're far on the right. There you go. There you go. And of course, I don't actually mean that. That's absurd. But using their logic on Jamie Lee Curtis, there's another reach that could be made on the other side. If you're really conservative, you can't like, you know, Star Trek, they were environmentalists. So you can't like, oh, also, you know the music you can listen to? Pretty much fucking none of it. You can listen to pretty much no rock and roll music. So, like, it's weird. If we applied that test to conservatives, they would have a really, like, cultureless life. Because there's, like, they got Ted Nugent. That's it. Which, by the way, I put out a Twitter poll. What do you guys think that Kid Rock, Kanye West, and Donald Trump are going to have for lunch today? Is it going to be Papa John's? Is it going to be Chick-fil-A? Or is it going to be the souls of poor people? Cast your vote now. Cast your vote now. Jordan brings up, didn't her character die in the Halloween series already? I thought so too, actually, but apparently not. And, you know, I apologize if we just spoiled anything, but hey, once it was in the chat, what are you going to do? But yeah, I thought that her character had died as well. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and